Trophy Room, Jordan Brand, back in the culture with their newest collaboration, the Jordan 7 New Sheriff in Town, in this beautiful red, white, and blue color blocking. These released November 5th on Trophy Room's site and on November 9th on Sneakers. I didn't even attempt the Trophy Room site and definitely took an L on the Sneakers app, which means I had to get these off of a resale site because I really needed these. And I'm glad that I have them in hand now. First of all, these are going right above retail, which is interesting. But secondly, this sneaker really does steal attention. And I'm talking the good kind. Speaking of stealing attention, the sneaker community has definitely talked about Trophy Room a lot over the past year, and it hasn't been pretty. It's really not been a positive light. And since last year's, what do you want to call it, debacle, the sketchy release of the Trophy Room Chicago 1 freeze-outs, but we're not going to rehash all of that. You know, there's plenty of videos on that. And, you know, in sneaker culture, we've found out that it's not time that heals all wounds, it's fire. And here we have fire. A lot is going on when you kind of look over the sneaker, and we're gonna dive into the nitty-gritty in a second here. But first, let's talk about the name, let's talk about the story, New Sheriff in Town. The story that these sneakers tell involves the 92 Dream Team, one of the greatest basketball teams who have ever been assembled on Earth. You had Jordan, you had Pippen, Malone, Stockton, Barkley, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, David Robinson. And at the center of the basketball world during this time was definitely Michael Jordan. The Bulls were coming off back-to-back championships. Michael clearly established himself as not only the face of basketball, but really the greatest and best player playing at the time. And historically, 1992 became sort of this final transition year from one era of basketball to another, where, you know, the changing of the guards happened and Michael became this dominant force in the game. And excluding his retirement, really, he dominated the next decade of basketball. Now, if you look inside the shoe near the ankle collar right here, it has this black tag and it says June 22, 1992. This date is actually a few weeks even before the first basketball games were played at the Olympics. On this day, the Dream Team was practicing and they had, I guess, a full-on scrimmage. And we know this because of that clip of Magic Johnson telling us about this particular practice. It was a full 5-on-5 with him leading one squad and Jordan leading another squad. And what we're told is at some point, Michael Jordan walks up to Bird, walks up to Magic and says, "A new sheriff is in town." And that's where we get the inspiration for this sneaker. And that's why this date is stitched into the sock liner. The nuance of the story, the specificity of the date, the fact that this is a story about an exchange between Michael Jordan on this day of practice for the Dream Team. I really like how this sneaker really sheds light on more of Michael Jordan's storied past, which is really, really cool. But let's dive into the sneaker itself. If you've been into sneakers for a bit, then possibly your reaction to this particular sneaker might have a couple of feelings. The first feeling is this feeling of familiarity. Knowing that you've seen this design before, this is a Jordan 7, but also there is this feeling of novelty, that this is sort of new and this hasn't been really combined in this way before. And I think both of those feelings are very valid. I love this red, white, and blue combination on this sneaker. It really feels powerful and bold. It catches the eye, and the proportion feels really balanced to me. Each of the primary colors, the red, white, and blue, has its place, and it's configured in this color blocking that really is interesting. I really like it. All three colors are deep, they're rich, and very saturated. Even the off-white overlay has that heaviness to it that I really like, that it's soaked in that like off-white color. And overall, the colors combined together has this richness to it that feels really, really nice. As we know, the 6s and 7s have a similar lineage. The panel designs are similar, they play off of each other. And I think it was a smart move for Trophy Room to dial up that red on these 7s. It really adds energy to the sneaker. You get a much more fun color blocking compared to the original Olympic 7s. And what really elevates the sneaker in my mind is the materials that they used on this sneaker. Rather than going for the regular leather that you would find like on Olympic 7s, Trophy Room incorporates suede and nubuck. And not only does it add a really nice softness to the shoe, it also adds this interesting texture. And there's a depth to the upper, which you wouldn't find on just like regular, you know, run-of-the-mill leather. And it's really beautiful. And the metaphorical icing on the cake is really the hardware. The lace hole rings, the golden Jumpman, and the heel plate add that accent of luxury and flash to the sneaker. Right above the heel plate is the pull tab, which is probably my favorite pull tab on any Jordan. It's in this red, green, black, yellow, and blue. It represents the Olympic rings. And if you've ever worn 7s extensively, you know how much you need the pull tab to put on these sneakers. So really like that touch. On the lateral side of the heel, you get embossed Michael Jordan signature. I had a thought about this, that it would also have looked really nice on the medial side opposite of the Jumpman. Inside the sneaker, behind the tongue, you find New Sheriff in Town, which is stitched in white. And the insole is quite amazing with that multicolored zigzag pattern with a Trophy Room patch sewn into the heel portion. And there's a quote right here saying, "The greatest game ever played, Monte Carlo." Back outside the sneaker, you get the 7 style white midsole with red, gold, and blue accents. And the outsole continues that shattered zigzag pattern with a gold Jumpman. Overall, the Trophy Room 7 is a great feeling sneaker for me. These fit true to size, and the high quality of materials give me a sense of comfort and luxury on feet. I've never owned a pair of Olympic 7s, but when I compare these to pictures of that shoe, I have to admit I really like these a bit more. I just like the additional red, and the suede is really one of my favorite materials. And the gold hardware really just takes it to the next level and elevates it into a luxury and elegant design for me. What are your thoughts on this collaboration? Did you miss out? If so, would you now go back and get them? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.